Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonja Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures. College football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds. NBA odds of division winners and playoffs. Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds. The National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds. And boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of National Streaming Sports, the midweek show. I hope everybody's doing well. I am your co-host tonight, sitting in for Mac and Linda. Shout out to the Roku channel production team. Mac, we miss you. We hope you get better soon. And download the Roku app. All 12,615 of you all who have supported us so graciously. We appreciate you. I'm joined by Jay Train, the Louisiana native and New Orleans Saint and LSU Tigers and all things Louisiana fan. To my right is Mike Tipton from the Tipton Point Cowboys. Anything Texas except Houston, Texas, that is. It's all for Tip. And to the right, you got the Hawks native and professional baller himself, Bo Krizouch from Football Talk with Bo. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you all tonight?
Doing good.
Doing
good.
Well.
I like the gothic. I like the gothic lettering we got going on here.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad you guys approved that. How you doing? Good too, J Train?
Well, I was about to say, soon as you said I'm a Louisiana and Saints fan, I'm soon to be a Shedeur Sanders fan. Looks like with all these mock drafts mocking him to the Saints.
Yes.
We'll see how that goes.
We are going to definitely get to that real soon. But as you guys see, I'm wearing my March Madness shirt. I'm still Duke all day, every day. And karma is a mother, guys. I mean, Houston got it how they lived. I'm so sorry, Kelvin Sampson, my neighbor back from Robinson County, North Carolina, coach of the Houston Cougars. Okay, Cougars out there in the house. But, honey, they got clawed and declawed by the Florida Gators, who put all teeth forward and gobbled them right on up. As, of course, the most painful thing about it, guys, 2 points. I mean, just like Houston and Duke. And the thing with this game was Houston led this game 75% of the time, over that actually. And within there was a stat they broke: 93% of all teams who had to lead within the last 14 minutes of any NCAA tournament, that team won the game. Well, there's a chance. There's always that chance. The other 7% that we didn't account for, and Florida made that happen with 1 minute 38 seconds left in the game. They came back, got it done. Clayton Jr., got it done all over them. Sharp and LJ, just a figment of Houston's imagination, and they go home 65-63. This was Houston's first time in the actual finals, I believe, and this was Florida Gators' third championship. This is their first since 2007. They are one of the only teams now. They're joining two other teams that have not only a collegiate football championship, but now a collegiate basketball championship for the NCAA. So congratulations to those Gators. And yeah, guys, what a nail biter.
I mean, if Tip wasn't drinking already, he would be now.
Yeah.
Let's
Whole
go.
bracket just busted wide open.
Nah, it's funny, though. The worst part about that game was the fact that they didn't get a shot off at the end, right? For it to go down the way that it did, man, just a horrible way to end the game. But it was sloppy the whole way through anyway. I mean, the Gators, right up till the end, the only time they led, they were 8-6 at the very beginning of the game. And then it was just this game of runs, which a lot of times they are, but it was never a run where they pulled ahead. Like Houston would run out and then they'd get a run to catch up. Mm-hmm. And then at best they'd tie. So, I mean, it really, you thought the Gators were going to ultimately lose when they were losing the turnover battle 12-4 and
love it
halfway through the second half. And you're looking at that and you're like, yeah, they're just actively trying to get rid of this game. And then Houston started getting in foul trouble. They had 3 fouls in 9 seconds, which was amazing, on the same guy. Like, that's got to almost be a record on its own.
Yes.
But yeah, it was just a very weird ending to the game. Mostly because they just couldn't get a shot off. Like in that scenario, just heave the thing up because nobody knows that you're dropping the ball. So none of your teammates are around to make a play on it. Everybody was turning like you were going to shoot. So at least give them the opportunity to go get a rebound. You dumping the ball like that, nobody's even aware. You lose 3-4 seconds when there's only 15, 20 seconds left. Mm-hmm. Rough. So I don't know. It's just a weird game to watch.
And I think the more frustrating thing, like you said, like you can't get a shot off. But if you look, even whenever he jumps in the air, there's still 5 seconds left. That ball was bouncing around for 4 seconds. The Houston Cougars got the ball with 19 seconds left. This was the play you came up with. This is what you drew up.
Exactly.
He couldn't finish his commitment, and that's why I said Houston got it how they live. Because look how they did Duke. Duke couldn't even inbound. The last 2 possessions. Duke could not inbound. That's why I was like, you got it how you live.
Well, and
that was good defense on Houston, though, when the inbound.
Exactly.
It was,
but
and it was good defense.
But at the same time, the guy should have just shot the ball. And that's what makes it interesting is that Houston had great plays at the end of the game in the Final Four and the Elite Eight. They had coaching matters. But they got out coached at the end. I mean, I don't understand the player that didn't shoot the ball. If you get blocked, you have an opportunity to go get the ball or inbound again. And if the ball goes out of bounds and maybe 1 or 2 seconds, you can shoot again. You have another shot. But just standing there with the ball bouncing and no one sees what's going on, that's crazy.
Well, and not just that, like
he couldn't touch it because
of course, by rule, absolutely, there's nothing you can do, but shoot the ball and just have it blocked.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the thing too, is like, even if it's blocked, that's one of the that's not even worst case scenario. We saw worst case scenario. Throw it up. Maybe you hit the backboard. One of your teammates can get it, put it in for 2. You go to overtime.
That's what I'm saying.
You flail an arm out. You get slapped on the arm a little bit. Now you're shooting 3 free throws. Like, give yourself a shot to just go up and drop the ball.
Yeah.
Like literally, you dropped the ball. We don't see that.
Right?
We don't see that happen in like actuality, right? Like this is he drops the ball. This is how they lose the game. There was a point there though where I think it was like with about 5 minutes left, right? That's when Houston starts getting all the fouls, like all that stuff. You felt the momentum shift. And Florida quickened the pace of that game up. And the second Florida quickened the pace of the game up, you knew Houston was going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonja, you had like a great stat there. 93% of the time, if you have a lead, you're going to win it. How many times do we see Florida be down and come back and win these games?
Absolutely.
What they did to Texas Tech, what they did to Houston, they do what they needed to do at the biggest moment possible. What sucks about it, though, is that how different could that game have been if it was Duke that was in there, right? Like, that's going to be the what if. How much fun that game would have been.
That's all I could say. And I didn't want to say that because, I'm partial. But I was like, if Duke had been there, Duke would have been prepared for this moment. I had Duke and Florida going to the championship game with Duke winning it all. I think what happened was at that moment that this guy couldn't commit for this, for this transitioning of this ball. I think the moment got too big and he got absorbed by this moment. This whole game was on you and your mind just went berserk and you just could not commit.
The only thing that would make it make sense at all is if he thought he had a guy that was trying to set a screen, because then he would have been right there, right? The problem is even if the guy was right there, he would have been watching for the rebound, not for him to drop the ball. Because if you have a player that's watching your guy shoot, that dude is getting lit up in a film room after any game he did it in. Because they're like, why aren't you trying to make a play?
Yep. Yeah, he was sitting there waiting for the ball. Good. Yeah, he was sitting there waiting for that play to play out. And the thing that's really crazy is this was Emmanuel Sharp. He was one of their star players going into this game. And, him and Cryer, LJ Cryer, they were banking on those two dudes to carry the game. Of course, Cryer had 18, 19 points, I think it was. Sharp did not. He only had like 8 points in this game. And in fact, the leader was not either one of them. It was, Roberts, Jay Roberts. He actually had more playing time, but Cryer had the 19 points. Sharp only had 8. So, like I said, the moment consumed them.
Well, and if I remember right, he only had 2 points halfway through the second half.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody was shooting particularly well, though. So the way that this thing was designed, where it looked like it was going to be him taking that last shot, try and put him ahead, I wouldn't have wanted that play drawn up anyway. You guys haven't been hitting shots consistently all game. I would have wanted the opportunity to get a rebound.
Well, I think Florida took them out of their element, right? And we got to give props to Florida's defense because Florida played some amazing defense late in the game. But you got to look, right? Like Sharp catches the ball. That's what, a 33-foot jumper that he's trying to nail right there. There was still 5 seconds left. I feel like you had a couple of passes left in you where you could have probably gotten to the bucket and gotten a better shot. For that to be it, it's just such a mental breakdown from a player that in the tournament had a great tournament. It's just that's all anyone's going to remember is you go into your shooting motion and you just do this, and that's going to be the memory of this Final Four of this championship is you doing that. And
that's almost comparable. That's almost comparable to the Fab Five, Chris Webber's timeout.
I mean,
I'd say of course
that'll be part of his draft eval.
I was worried about.
Does he make good decisions?
I was worried about Chinyulu, who got that tech. That tech right there. If Florida had lost this game, when Chinyula ended up making it they had a tech and then another foul, so it was 4 points they could have put on the board. If Florida had lost this game, everybody would have been blaming that moment on the fact that Houston won, but. They were able to, and they put him out. They put him on the sidelines. They were like, listen, dude, you're doing tech fouls. And then there was another foul within that. And they basically had anybody could shoot and all that stuff. Had Florida lost this game, we would have been talking about that right now.
Especially that tech where he spiked the ball.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He bounced it up out of anger. And they were like, okay, you already had the foul. The fact that you were angry about it and the ball went airbound, that's when you got the tech. That was crazy. That was crazy.
I feel like the refs got to swallow the whistle in that one, man. You're in a championship game. There's so much emotion going on. Like it's understandable to be frustrated in that moment, right? So like I feel like for me, the refs need to swallow that whistle. But Houston also didn't do themselves any favors. They had a ton of free throws late in the game that they just didn't make. And I don't know what it is about college basketball. You got guys that shoot at like 90%, and then everyone else is shooting at like 52%.
Yeah.
And it's the ugliest free throw motions in the world. I get so frustrated by it because I'm just like, guys, it's a free throw. It's easy points. This is like Texas Tech loses games that way, just like they did to Florida. Florida beats Houston because Houston can't make free throws. Why are free throws not being something that we like focus on? How are you a college player and you're happy with a 50% free throw average?
Both of these teams, their free throws were literally mirrored when you look at the stats of like the free throw percentages. It's crazy because when you do the breakdown, it was only like one difference in each category. Like
I thought you were going to say their free throws were a miracle because it kind of was if it went in.
That too was like, okay, they're like the Patrick Mahomes of the basketball because you just hurl and pray it goes in. Like, let me ask you guys this. I know people don't really say karma or whatever, but it came out that Hakeem Olajuwon was at the Duke versus Florida game. Duke versus Houston game. And when Houston won, he was, prevented from going on the court. And Kelvin Sampson knew he was there. Kelvin had invited him and a CBS reporter, Chad somebody, that basically they were part of the Houston culture and he wanted them to be there. And security was like, yeah, you don't got your media pass. We don't know you, dude. And I'm like, who don't know Hakeem Olajuwon?
First off, how tall do you have to be for someone to assume you play basketball? Right.
Especially when it's him.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I'm like, was that karma coming back again?
You know what it was? That they did that Final Four was in San Antonio. That was a San Antonio Spurs fan still mad about what Hakeem Olajuwon did to David Robinson when he got him and then jammed on him. That was payback for 1995. That's what that was.
I'm guessing the security guy wasn't alive in 1995.
That's what but I looked at the dude looked like he was alive in 95. They showed like him, at least a random security person in front of him. And the guy looked older than me. So, I mean, you got to look at it like this. If you're working in that type of atmosphere, you have to know who people are. You can't just blame ignorance like, oh, I wasn't alive when that happened. Listen, you work in a sports arena. It's your responsibility to do the research. I mean all the time we talk about
a Hall of Fame international basketball player. That really makes sense.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That being said, if that dude just got rolled over the coals for you don't let anybody in without a media pass, you're like, hey, you know what, Hakeem, love you, dude. No.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case,
I ain't getting fired for you today.
I mean, even NFL people are weighing in on this. JJ Watt has something to say about it. Like, this is really something, and they got the footage of the security keeping them out. So I don't know. Like, this is really trending. Jack didn't like that I talked about it really this morning. He said it really wasn't that important, but I'm like, it is important. But
so the only thing I can say about it is, so say the security did their job. He didn't have the media pass, didn't let him in. He's just like, hey, you know what? No exceptions, not getting fired for you. Okay. I feel like that coach can probably see this 7-footer standing on the side trying to get on the court.
Right. He invited him. That's what I'm saying. Kelvin Sampson, they said Kelvin Sampson invited him. Like,
well, for me, that's not even on Kelvin Sampson. There has to be someone with the Houston's basketball team that's like, oh, no. That's a key. First off, he's 7 feet tall. 50% of people that are 7 feet tall have played basketball in the NBA. Chances are he's probably a guy that played in the NBA. Maybe you should let the dude that's 7 feet tall onto the damn court because it means something. But like someone from Houston's organization, like their athletic director, just anybody should have been like, oh, hey, Hakeem. Yeah, let Hakeem in because you know who that is? That's Hakeem effing Olajuwon.
And you don't know that he made history there. He's not just like an average player. He was part of the Houston culture. Like, they know him.
Five slam jam.
And also, this is where speaking of Hakeem Olajuwon, I feel bad because he went to 2 Final Fours himself and didn't win.
Yes.
And for them to not win this one, I'm pretty sure he was like, and then to not be let on the court. That's that's like nail in the heart, man. That's terrible.
Oh,
and so I lived in Houston, so I was pulling for Houston a little bit. I lived in Houston for a short time. My dad was there. My sister and brothers were born there, and so I lived for them. Yeah. So I was pulling for Houston, the Cougars, because I'm a huge Akeem Olajuwon fan. So
did the Gators let him on? Like,
the Gators let him on after the fact. Because I'm going to tell you like this, guys. Coach K was at that Duke game, and everybody knew it. That could never have happened to Coach K. Coach K is Duke. Like, I don't care if you were not born, but he did just recently retire, so everybody that's been working now knows who he is. But I'm just saying, he was there.
That's what I feel the difference is, right? Like, Akeem's been retired for what, 22, 25 years almost? Like, it's been a while since Akeem's been there. But nonetheless, he's 7 feet tall. Probably played basketball. Like, if you're 7 feet tall and you never played basketball before, you could probably get onto any court you want to because you're 7 feet tall. Like, just you know what? You probably played basketball. Come on in. Like, it's got to be that simple.
But I'm with you though. But someone in the Houston brass should have at least communicated this and allowed this man to come through, just in case something like this were to happen. And obviously, it did happen, and that's just stupid. That don't even make any sense.
You could imagine like what the conversation would be like. You just walk over to the security guard. Hey, you see that guy right there? You see how he's really tall? Whenever the game's over, you allow him on the court. Like, it's that simple. And they were like, no, we're good. We're good. It's Akeem. People know Akeem. But I'm telling you, it was a San Antonio Spurs fan. He remembered him doing the dream shake to David Robinson, and he got his get back. That's what that was right there.
Yep. And hello, Candy. It was ridiculous. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for watching and subscribing and commenting. It was absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, now, if this had been Coach K and Duke was there, we would have all been like on 12 at this point. Freaking Coach K. But, we digress. Congratulations to the Florida Gators. Like I said, bit and chomped all the way to the final. And I need to go back and tally up my bracket because I at least had Florida as the other side of the opponent for the final game. So, okay. Anywho, let's travel on over. Speaking of ridiculousness, sis. Freaking Denver decided to get the broom and mop out, clean house, got rid of Malone after this rant he supposedly did at a press conference, got him and his GM up out of there. Guys, what are your thoughts?
I think, obviously this seems asinine, but the other end of it, when you look at 4 of the last 6 NBA championship coaches have been fired.
Yep.
So apparently you win a ring. They're like, yeah, cool. Bye.
Bye.
Milwaukee. 2 of Milwaukee coaches. What was it? Budenholzer. I'm sorry, one. But 2 were fired. That wasn't a national champion. I mean, it wasn't a championship coach, but they were winning last season. The coach got fired, and they took in Doc Rivers. But yes, the guy for the Raptors.
So if we go in order, 2019 winner, Nick Nurse, Raptors.
Nurse.
Gone, right?
Yep.
Then Frank Vogel, 2020, Lakers, gone. Budenholzer, 21, Bucks, gone. Steve Kerr managed to keep his job so far. And of course, Malone, now fired, 23 champ. I mean, man, it's wild to get fired so quickly after winning.
Well, it's not just that. It's wild that there's 5 games left in the season.
But it lost 4 in a row, the last 4.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Like, you have a championship caliber team that has a championship caliber coach. You're going to fire in 5 games before the playoffs start. Sure, you lost 4.
And they're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they're in the playoffs. Let's keep that in mind. They are in the playoffs.
15 games over 500. You're a team that no one wants to face in the playoffs just because of who Nikola Jokic is, right? Like,
they're not in the play-in either. They're in the playoffs. I'm gonna keep saying that they're in the playoffs. Yeah. Number 4.
And that's funny thing about that though is, say whoever goes in as interim, right? Say they win it all, they'll also fall on this list as getting fired after winning.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell y'all what's worse. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tip.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, I listened to some of the stuff that they said. This was what Mike Malone said that could have gotten him in trouble. And it's like, oh, these players aren't watching film. We're going to hold their asses accountable.
Yeah, he said they were playing.
How is that bad enough to be fired for?
I'm going to tell you what's even crazier, guys.
Oh.
Malone is the winningest coach in Denver Nuggets history.
Yeah.
And he's in the franchise history, ending a decade-long tenure that saw the team rise from rebuilds to perennial contenders. Like, he rose them from the ashes. They have a 47-32 record right now because of him. And people are speculating if Russell Westbrook had something to do with this because of the frustration that came out after this press conference.
Well, so I have a friend who was a former president of a Major League Baseball team, and he had his share of people that he has fired in the past. And he always said this: whenever you had a GM, because Mike Malone didn't get along with the GM, whenever you have a GM and a coach that aren't getting along, as ownership, you have to choose a side, because you can't fire the GM and the coach at the same time and expect there to be some sort of like great relationship that's going to happen here. What it looks like to me is Denver's about to punt on the season, right? Denver's being happy, like we're not going to win a championship this year, because there's no way that you can try to overcome this type of turmoil.
It's horrible. And of course, now the interim coach is going to be, let's see, hang on, I just saw it, David Edelman. And we're like, who? David who?
Well, that's Rich Edelman's son.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, just familiar ties only. Like, what has he done? Where has he led anybody? Like, this is crazy.
Sort of like Schottenheimer, right?
Yeah, just like
I'm all about nepotism and head coaches. I got to be on my guy Schottenheimer's time. Like we're winning 0 games this year, baby. We got this going. I hate that. I love that team.
You absolutely do fire all of them, right? The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the mother burn.
I mean, they're calling it spring cleaning. Talk about spring cleaning. I mean,
it's at the wrong time, man. That didn't make any
for them
sense.
to be
that's what I'm saying. You couldn't wait 20 more games, like another month. You couldn't let this ride out. It had to be 5 games. Like this is now tied with the latest that a coach has been fired in the season. Hubie Brown in 1982 was fired by the Atlanta Hawks.
Yep.
With 5 games left in the season. What does that? But the Hawks weren't in the playoffs. Like the Hawks were really bad that year.
Every year,
a team that's a playoff contender. And again, nobody wants to face this team in the playoffs. You got Nikola Jokic, anything can happen.
And he's come out and made sure he told everybody he ain't had nothing to do with this. He's literally like, I had nothing to do with this. So,
and it's not even like it was close, right? Like they could lose the rest of the games and they'll be in the playoffs.
Yes.
But how does this affect the morale of the players? You just got rid of their main guy. I don't know.
All I'm saying is if I'm the players and I don't win a championship, the entire city, the fan base gets to point at you and say, you're the reason why we didn't win this championship.
Oh, yeah.
Your head coach 99% of the time is like a human shield, right? Like, oh, it could have been the coach. The way that we always see it, it starts with firing the GM, then it starts with firing the coach, and then we start trading off players. Well, hell, you fired both of them at the same time. What the hell are you doing?
Well, when you look at the background on it, they've given 5 reasons behind Calvin Booth being moved on. First, they extended Zeke Nananji's contract for 4 more years for $32 million. Some under the collective old bargaining that they had, making $8 million made for a valuable trade chip. Go into all of that. Then they offered guaranteed contracts to rookies who never or rarely played. Like they were spending money like, you get a contract, you get a contract, you get a contract. I mean, ever since the summer of 2022, this is what they've been doing. This has had a big impact on everything. And then, of course, everything that happened with Reggie Jackson after the title game. From 2023 on, there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on with that. He was mostly fine, but inconsistent and ran out of gas late as the Nuggets relied on him with injuries to Jamal Murray. And then a few weeks later, he picked up his option and Booth shipped him out of town with 3 second-round picks. So you think about that going on. And then they paid too much for Deron Holmes II. Like they gave this dude, moved 6 picks for him. And the fact is, they lost because of injury he had during the summer league. I mean, there was a lot of that. Then, of course, the signing of Dario Saric to the taxpayer mid-level exception. I mean, it looks like this was all a whole bunch of financial issues that boiled over to misguided information, mismanagement, and it just caused turmoil across the board.
But we can say that like salaries in the NBA are like that, right? Bronny James is making $7 million this year.
Right.
He ain't worth $7 million.
Yeah,
right?
notwithstanding, that's just because of his daddy's name.
100%. But like, how many times do we see the dude that's like the 12th guy on the bench that's making like $10 million annually because that's just how NBA contracts are right now.
I just didn't know it, I guess.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Bronny James is the G League MVP. He deserves every penny of it.
He's at a G League. He's at a G League.
Yeah, cool. It's been fun. I'm out.
Hi, Let's Talk Sports Network. Good evening to you guys. Thank you so much for commenting. They said the NBA as a whole looks at the right decision and goes the other way. That's crazy.
And J-Train, I'll let you know this. Me, you, and Bo and Sonja could all be G League MVPs one day. Like if that's where the bar is.
They're thinking that.
I mean, I'm old and fat. My shot ain't never broke. Like that thing always looks good, baby. Trust me.
All you need is just a tip.
That's it. That's all I need. Give me a tip of space, and I got you, baby.
That's right.
Draining it on you.
He said that's what his show. He tried to call his show that, and they were like,
No. So I had a segment of my show that was called Just the Tip, and then
innuendo.
Oh no, yeah, it's the triple entendre. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm the master of the triple entendre.
Gonna show up.
Sonja had to bow out gracefully.
She's like, I'm done.
Is it over now? I'm back.
It's just like the group chat. The second I stop talking, she gets out of here.
Yes, so sorry. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? So Denver, in my mind, I'm like, when you do something like this, you are setting yourself up for a quick elimination. Like the first time you play one of these lower level teams that are like, you got to win to stay in. As soon as you play like that one seed that's trying to just scramble all they can, they still got the same coach they've had all season. And you're up here pompous and, whatever, we don't need anybody. You're going to run into trouble early on. I expect Denver to not progress deep in the playoffs like we initially thought.
No, that'll be one and done.
And it's unfortunate because Jokic is having another MVP season and this, caliber season, and you got to contend with this. And potentially, like you said, one and done. I don't know. Maybe they rally together. Maybe they get together and make a run in the West.
You got players drawing up stuff.
West, y'all.
Who knows? I'm not sold on all the teams in the West anyway. So I mean, I think it's a crapshoot. To be honest with you.
And that's the thing, right? It's like in this year, at least in the Western Conference, we could be like any of the teams that make it there. I do believe Oklahoma City is the best team, like not just record wise, like they are a really good team. But I also believe that you have to have growing pains in sports, right? Like they just haven't hit the threshold of the growing pains to get where they need to go. It could be anybody's conference. And for you to do this to your team, it's a self-inflicted wound. But what it looks like to me is that Denver is really on the cusp of saying, you know what? We're good with having Jokic. We won a championship with him. Let's go ahead and ship off some contracts and let's begin that rebuild and start trying to retool and do all the things that we have to do. Because if you're going to get rid of the coach and you're going to be this public about it, the coach and the GM, we're talking about huge positions that you need on a basketball court. Yep. If you get rid of those positions, it's not a good look for your franchise. Now you have the excuse of we didn't win a championship this year. We had all the pieces here. We don't have a championship. Now let's move them out because we've been paying so much in luxury tax on it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but it's like they got the shotgun, looking at their foot like, man, there's too many toes on there. Like,
yeah, let's just mix it up. Like they're imploding for no reason.
I don't think I've ever heard that like phrasing of they got the shotgun, they looked at the toes and was like, you know what? Somebody's got to go.
I don't need 10. I don't need 5 on each foot.
Yeah, let's be 7 toes down.
Yeah, 7 toes down is a new montage for 2025.
And just so Robert Wardell knows, it's not a 2-inch vertical; it's a 1.5-inch vertical, baby, and I'm proud of that.
Okay, Robert. Good evening. I didn't see your comment, and I'm glad I missed it. Let's move on. Wow. You guys join Tip After Dark, after midnight. He has his show.
I'm talking about my jump.
like
I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about.
He's talking about a
He's
jumper.
jumping off the ground. Yeah.
I've had multiple knee surgeries, ankle surgeries. Like if my vertical's that high, I'm lucky.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarification. My apologies. Just never know. When
Someone
Tip is
just get their mind
sipping,
out of the gutter.
when tipping is sipping, you just have to make sure you got your comments correct on here.
But I mean, that's
leave it to Sonja to take us to the dirty place.
Yeah.
I did not. I just want to make sure we are not there.
You're the one who brought up the just the tip thing. Like, we got to remember this. You're the one that brought that up.
And he's tripping.
And she's gone.
Is it safe to come back? All right, guys. So let's switch and pivot. Thanks, everybody. Robert, good to see you as always. To the NFL. Looks like Christian McCaffrey has been, deemed healthy and able to return. However, the 49ers are like, you know what? We're going to go ahead and add us a running back to our draft. Now, we know the running back shelf life is already short as is, but the fact that Christian McCaffrey has had double injuries, not just this season, but previous seasons as well. We thought he was healthy once he got to the 49ers. The 49ers are clearly in rebuild mode. Bo, you're out west, out in that, that same geographical area. What's the rumblings out there with the 49ers camp and just the NFC West as a whole?
Well, I mean, the Niners, as you've already seen in the offseason, they have to clear cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they kicked some of these down the road to the point where you got to pay for them, right? Happened to the Rams a few years ago. So the Niners are there. You even had the GM, John Lynch. He came out and was like, sometimes you just have to reset to get your books in order. And this is that season for them. So it's probably not going to be a great season. It makes sense that they're going to get a running back. There's some good running backs on the board. And, McCaffrey hasn't been able to stay healthy. So at this point, you're already starting to move on. You get rid of Debo. You have to figure out Purdy's contract. Ayuk maybe working his way out of the room.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey makes a lot of money. If there was a guy they were going to start moving off of, it makes sense. So I think it's a smart move. I don't want to see him do it. I want to see him give Purdy like $60 million and then double down on McCaffrey and try and get some other like broken down pieces because, then my Seahawks can stop tripping over them.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that they let Jordan Mason go. They traded him away. And that guy he was probably standing to make some money as well. So Like you said, they're probably looking to just rebuild. And you can get the draft is so deep with running backs. You can get a quality running back, probably comparable to Jordan Mason, or if not better. And maybe second, third, fourth, even fifth. It's just that deep, Sonja. I was like, wow. So, I mean, letting Jordan Mason go was not a bad idea. At first, I was wondering why. But then I figured they probably didn't want to pay him extra amount of money when they're trying to clear house, and they could just pay a running back in the third or fourth round and get him for a high value pick, and somebody that's probably high quality, maybe worth a second rounder, but probably because it's so deep, the draft's so deep with running backs, they're probably going to get somebody at a high value pick in the third or fourth round.
And that's the thing with like San Francisco, right? Like the position that they're in right now is they traded away so much to get Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's a great running back when he's available. Exactly. But the fact of the matter is, at some point during the year, he's going to miss multiple games. It's just who he is. So you have to have a serviceable backup in there, whether you do it in the draft, whether you get it in free agency. There's no one left in free agency. So what do? You go in the draft. You don't want to pay a running back. What do? You draft them, because the shelf life of a running back is 3.5 years, maybe, right? Like question mark on that. Christian McCaffrey's already exceeded that level of output. Now you're thinking, okay, it's going to decline along with the injuries and everything else. It's like that.
Yep. And with the offense that they run, which is the wide zone offense, I got a perfect scenario getting a guy that might fall to a third round is Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. He would fit that offense perfectly. And if they could get him, he's not injury prone, and he will ultimately be the replacement probably for Christian McCaffrey. But to put those two back there as a dual backfield, man, that'd be great for them. And you get him for a cheap price.
I was thinking the same thing. You can do that with Bo Scatterbo too. Same.
That's what
I want Scatterboo. I've been talking about him, but I don't know. Would he go in the second round? He's probably going to go in the first round. Don't you
No,
think?
he's probably like a third or
He's a third rounder.
Yeah.
He's
Really?
he's a third. Yeah. His speed is probably what's killing him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to say his name right. There's one O at the end of his name. There's not two.
Oh, so the announcers have been calling him Scataboo, and it's
Everybody calls him. I've heard one. I've even heard the AI say Scatabo.
Yeah, and speaking of mispronounced,
Bo, do we call you Bo or do we call you Boo?
Bo.
No, I'm
calling you Bo. I'm definitely not calling you Boo.
Right,
hey, Boo.
So is his name Scataboo or Scatabo?
It's Scataboo, but he doesn't know how to say it.
Scataboo, but isn't it just one O, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Speaking of names, I wonder if this person is in the draft this year, and it's Noah, and I want to spell the last name because I literally had to pull up a film on this on YouTube to see because it's Knigga or something. Knigga.
You can't make this up.
Hey, Bo, how about you say that name for us real quick?
They said it's Knigga, but his parents are so wrong for naming him Noah because when you look at the name, the announcers were like, we hope that the K is not silent. Like they literally said that. When you look at this dude,
it actually is though.
He's in the draft.
It is silent. It is silent.
Oh no, my God.
It is exactly what you think it is.
No, God. No. I gotta go.
Yep.
So is he in the draft this year?
I hope.
I mean,
J-Train is frozen. He can't even get it.
Just listening to announcers stumble over that is going to be the best.
Oh, hang on. He just got back. Hang on. Let me remove him here. Let me bring him
up.
I was going to take a picture of that.
Hey, sorry. I hit the wrong button here.
That's okay. Yeah, you're still on for some reason on another.
J-Train did not want to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah, right.
Let me leave out.
Tapping out.
So Robert says we'll just have to deal with those Rams this year, Bo. My feelings is they win the division. And he said, boo, needs 2 O's. So let's go back to this. Is Noah in this draft, guys?
I don't even know if I want to type that into my computer right now.
So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the incognito.
Yeah, as Siri, she's like Noah Knigga. Noah Knigga.
That's a great name though. That's one of the greatest names. Like you would think that that's a fake name for like a rapper somewhere.
Oh,
that is
no
such
question.
a great name.
No question.
So he's not. Is he in the draft this year? I can't wait for them to call his name.
I am looking at it right now.
Let me see.
Man, he's going to be an undrafted free agent at that point. They're going to look at the card and be like, you know what? Never mind.
No.
Nobody wants to. Yeah, nobody wants to say his name. And
so he is not draft eligible until next year.
Oh yeah, he's only 18, guys. He plays with the Lawrenceburg Tigers. Well, actually, that's him from high school. My bad.
Sometimes you got to know a guy.
You got to know a guy. See, Noah. Let's see.
I hope that he makes it to the NFL and he makes it to the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
because we would have
he's in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and he did sign with the Eastern Michigan Eagles. But yeah, can you imagine going to school with that guy? Oh my gosh.
I think it'd be hilarious.
Robert says maybe he changes his name to something like he hates. I don't know about that. I mean, there's so many ways we could go with that. But
his name is perfect. He does not need to do anything to his name. His name is perfect. I want a 20-year career so that we can hear NFL commentators for the next 20 years just stumbling over this name.
You know the best part is that like super racist dude. It's gonna pop off his lips like nothing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he can't wait. He can't wait.
Collinsworth is gonna do a few extra years just so he can say it. Yeah, we got Noah Knigga here, but you guys know how to say it.
There's someone in Jacksonville.
Every time they play, they're gonna have to do a disclaimer before the game. Kind of like you guys remember when Dennis Rodman was playing and he kept changing his name and stuff like that. And then Ron Artest was like Meta World Peace. You guys remember when I almost don't want to say this. Let me fact check it before I say it. Hang on, because this might not be right.
Well, what I was going to say is there's going to be a fan base in Jacksonville that's going to love whenever he comes in on the opposing side. That's going to be the case. Carolina.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Carolina. Sonja, Carolina had a running back that played in the XFL that changed his name to He Hate Me. Remember that guy?
What?
Yeah, well, that's what Rob was commenting on. Yeah.
Rod Smart.
Okay, this is true. This is true. So you guys remember when Dennis Rodman changed his name to Orgasm?
Oh no, I don't remember that one.
In 1997, I double checked it before I said it. I was like, I can remember it, coming to for the Pistons, number 5, Orgasm.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
man, I wish I could have been the announcer at that point. I should have been the announcer.
I think he was already out of the league when he changed it because he had already changed it one time to something else, and then he changed it after he released his book Walk on the Wild Side as part of his larger attention-grabbing persona. You know, he wore the wedding dress and all this stuff around that time that he just kind of got really out there.
It was great being here in Texas with him being a Spur at the time, because you had Avery Johnson and David Robinson, who are these super religious guys, having to deal with Dennis Rodman and the crazy that was going with that. And it was so much fun to read those stories, man.
Imagine the stadium chant, right? Yeah. When Noah runs in, if he's like a Pro Bowl caliber guy, right? Because it's usually a last name. You got 60,000 fans.
Yes. I'm like, there's going to be.
Who gets to start that chant?
I think you're going to hear crickets, though. You're going to hear crickets because everybody's not going to know what to say.
On regular TV now, they say GD and D and P and stuff like that, like it's nothing. So by the time Noah gets into the league, just imagine that to be a regular word, just like everything else. Because that's how we're going.
You know, whenever he starts coming out and the crowd is chanting his name, there's going to be that one white guy that's really doing it, and he's going to become an internet sensation.
You guys ever seen White Chicks?
Yes.
You know when the guys are in the car, they were like, "What? Oh, well, you were thinking
nobody's here.
Oh, no one's here. Okay, just it's not mine. Yeah, you know what? I was like, that's how it's gonna be when Noah comes out. So, guys, you know, we always plug in some fun. I'm glad we can get some laughs going here. Fun football, and even sometimes we talk about, you know, faith a little bit. So we gotta have faith with these teams we got represented. So anywho, let's talk about this mock draft. We're gonna keep talking about this ad nauseum until it happens. J Train, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this because it looks like the latest mock draft has come out, and you were talking in the chat about some possible trade stuff because Shadour's visiting the Steelers, and at a minimum, he may still be on the table when you guys pick number 9 because the Panthers don't want him, and we're right ahead of you guys.
Yeah, so I think some of this is smoke. I think a lot of a lot of guys are playing chess. They're putting the things out in the media. A lot of the so-called gurus of mocks don't really know what they're talking about in some areas. And you hear a lot of shenanigans going on. But I do like Mel Kiper Jr. But his particular mock
draft, he's made a whole career out of being wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's had a GM call him out years ago on the panel in his face, called him out about being wrong. Yeah, but his 4.0, his latest mock draft, has Shadour Sanders falling to the Saints at number 9. I just don't see the quarterback-needy teams that are ahead of the Saints passing up on Shadour Sanders. Regardless of what you think of him, regardless of what the media's put out about him being brash and having an attitude, I just think that he's going to fall to one of those teams. It's either going to be, you had 2 teams. They either went to go see Travis Hunter or they went to go see Travis Hunter and Shadour Sanders.
Right, that part. The tag.
And I think Cleveland, the Giants, regardless of their situation right now, with 2 older quarterbacks that are on virtually 1-year contracts, I think they still want a franchise quarterback in New York. I think the Raiders, regardless of the money that they just shelled out to Geno Smith, who's a 34-year-old quarterback, somebody that can sit under Geno, somebody that Tom Brady in the building has a little bit of traction saying, hey, I've been mentoring this guy. Why not take a shot at him? Let's get this guy and bring him in. The Jets that has Justin Fields and nobody else. Maybe they might want a quarterback too. They might want somebody at number 7. Number 7. And of course, not the Carolina Panthers. They're not going to pick anybody. They got their quarterback in the building, and they just re-upped the Red Cannon.
Red Rifle.
Red Rifle.
He's a cannon, though. He's a cannon, though.
He's a little bit of a rusty musket right now, though. I think he's a rusty musket.
Former Dallas Cowboys legend. Dallas Cowboys legend Andy Dalton.
That's right.
But he's a serviceable backup, and that's what they got him for, and I'm not knocking that. If he falls to New Orleans, I'm all for it. Just so you hear from me, I'm all for it.
Oh.
But if the Saints can trade and get out of number 9 and get more value picks with the Steelers, I'm all for it. Get a second. Get maybe a third or fourth, and maybe another first next year. Man, let's have at it. I can deal with that, and get a quarterback late.
The thing is I don't think he gets past the Browns. About a month ago, I thought he could fall all the way to the Saints because of the way that teams were, and the fact that his dad was like, "Oh yeah, we'll do some of that Eli Manning stuff, and we're not going to send him to teams we don't want him to." But then he came out this last week and was like, yeah, the Browns are acceptable. So prior to that, I looked at it as, yeah, I mean, the Browns, they don't get him. The Giants don't because of their situation now. The Jets, I figured, with Fields, Raiders, with Geno, right? Like they just paid a guy that, they want to see how they work out. So in that scenario, he could have fallen to the Saints. But now that it sounds like the Browns aren't a problem, that's probably where he lands, because what's the one thing the Browns desperately need? Because the rest of the roster actually isn't terrible. As a quarterback.
Yeah. And what's up, TC? How you doing?
I'm not saying the roster is amazing. I'm just saying you can win with the roster they have. So you need a quarterback. Now, is Shedeur that guy? I mean, if he goes to the Browns, probably not, because it's the Browns and they ruin quarterbacks. But I mean, at the end of the day, they have a guy that they're paying a ton of money to, and they got to get somebody in there that's free, right? Because they're going to be paying Deshaun for a while.
Oh, God.
So having a rookie quarterback where you still have a decent running back, you still have a good defense. I mean, you have pieces on that team. So, yeah, I mean, I could see him being a Brown, whereas, a week and a half ago, I would have said absolutely not, just based on everything they said all off season leading up to that.
Well, Dion came out talking about he just gracious and everything. And I know that you, hang on. Somebody just messaged me. Oh, hi, Carranza. He's like, hello. And it's Carranza Sonja before my last name gets butchered. And yeah, and my name is Sonja, not Sony. But thanks so much, Mr. Tony Carranza. I know you get ready to say something, Tip, but real quick, I want to make sure you guys also plug in, like after your comment, Tip. What do the Browns do with Deshaun? Like, seriously. But go ahead with your comment, and then I want you guys to chime in on that because it kind of pivots to what you guys were talking about.
So I feel like you got to look at Shedeur, right? Like, what team do you want to go to? The Giants are bad. I still think Cleveland is bad. Out of all the situations that are there, and if you're visiting Pittsburgh, maybe Pittsburgh's going to put up a package to draft in that top 3, right? Like, you can send a package over to the Giants and say, look, we're going to get this guy. You're more than likely not going to do it with Cleveland, even though you have a history of Cleveland messing up a bunch of draft picks. You're not going to do that, right? So you can find a way. And let's be honest, Tennessee also has been out there as trading the number 1 overall pick. So Pittsburgh trading to Tennessee wouldn't be so far out of mind. As far as Shedeur goes, the best situation for him would be Pittsburgh, because you have George Pickens, you have DK Metcalf, you have a pretty decent offensive line, you've got a pretty solid defense. That's the best team that he can go to. If I'm all these other teams, if I'm the Jets, if I'm the Browns, if I'm Tennessee, if I'm the Giants, there's so many holes there that a quarterback doesn't fix, that a quarterback isn't going to help out at either.
So right? He'd go to Pittsburgh and they're getting ready to sign Aaron Rodgers, like what, today or tomorrow? Is it today? Did he go on the Pat McAfee show today? Today was supposed to be the day it was released. What happened with that? Let me look.
So every day is supposed to have been the day it was released.
They've been saying, Pags told us April 9th. You know, Pags knows everything.
The date has moved a couple of times.
Oh my!
And that's the thing with Aaron Rodgers, right? That's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. Even if you do sign Aaron Rodgers, you still need someone that's going to take over after him. Shedeur Sanders, if you give him those weapons, he's got to. That's the best place for him to land. That would be a fantastic situation for him personally for the best growth as a quarterback.
They need to go ahead and send Aaron Rodgers Kaniga butt home. That's what they need to do. Go ahead and send that Kaniga home. I'm sick of him. I mean, this is the song. Like, he acts like the world owes him something, dude. You have not won nothing. Like,
yeah, but they let him do that. That's the thing. Like, they give him leverage that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin must be about to leave because Mike Tomlin usually has a little bit more control of folks than what's going on right now.
Well, I think Pittsburgh meeting up with Shedeur Sanders says that there might be a possibility that they're done with all this Aaron Rodgers mess. He's already lost that.
I hope they send him home. Like, make him sit down and get some humbleness about himself.
And then as far as what Cleveland can do with Deshaun Watson, you married that dude. Just stuck with him until the end of that contract. You can't move on from it.
2027?
It's 2 more years. You're done.
Well, let's not forget that Jim Hassler came out and said that we swung and took a big swing and missed.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean that speaks volumes in where they want to go. I think
like a one-night stand with a stripper, you're stuck. You're stuck.
Yeah, but I mean,
Anthony Edwards would be stuck.
Are they stuck? I mean, I don't know.
The kid. Let me put in there that this stripper gets a kid. You're stuck.
No, it's not really like a kid because you're not stuck with him forever, right? Like they did the extension. They did the extension to lessen the money, so it's more like they gave him something that he needs a shot for. Like, it's gonna go away. It's just gonna take a minute.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and you're gonna pay a little bit of alimony down the road. I mean, or child support.
Bo's talked about a little gift that keeps on giving.
That's right. Not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah, you might have to take a little pill for a little while.
Sometimes you need a pill to get rid of it.
Yeah. And
I hear they got creams for that.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, we're going off the rails here.
No, but that's exactly what it is, right? It's something that's going to stain you for a while.
It's the perfect analogy. It's Deshaun.
Yeah.
Like, what has he been doing with himself? The same thing we're talking about. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for tuning in. It's been fun.
It's always fun. So everybody agrees that but to me it kind of reminds me of the Kirk Cousins situation, to be honest with you, because Kirk Cousins is married to Atlanta till they say he can go, and TC says Mike Tomlin does not play those games. And hold on, Robert is really feeling himself. He's cursing at everything in the comment. He says, I'm just happy to see DK be a female dog and go to a team with no quarterback after saying he wanted to go to an established quarterback room.
Hey, he also said he wanted to play somewhere warm. Welcome to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, most frigid as ever. So everybody wait.
Oh, he's warm, all right. In that big house he's got with that $150 million contract. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's high electricity bill and all that stuff. Guys, we always have a really good time, and it's nothing but laughs over here. This is going to be replayed tonight, I think around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was joined with these nice gentlemen, or not so nice, J-Train, Bo, and Tip. I mean, I kind of probably engaged all of that. They're nice guys, really. But we want you to make sure you stay tuned all night. We have shows all throughout the night, and make sure you download the Roku app so that you too can be in the know when we're live. We have 24/7 sports without the cost of cable, and we also give our appreciation to Linda and Mac over there. Mac, continue to rest up. And for now, we're going to sign off. Keith Engel will be on. What's going on, Miss Feather Freebird? That's Bo's mom. Thank you so much. She said,
Bo, I can't believe your mom was watching this show and put up with our nonsense.
She was like, I'm going to stop commenting until the end.
Oh, no. You know, she popped on right at the end. She was just like, yeah, I know this land of misfit toys. I'm not doing this.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us as always. And with that, we're going to sign off. I'll be on tonight, 9 p.m., Premier Proper Sports, dedicating the show to my dunkle. Today would have been his birthday, and I do all my sports in his honor. And Fern's supposed to be joining me, guys. They said he's over in a ship, so you guys be on standby in case I need to bring y'all over, because I will not be doing a show for an hour at 9 p.m. If you guys are available. I'll be in the chat. But everybody thanks
Kaniga, please.
Likes, loves, and comments. What you say, Jay Trey?
Kaniga, please.
Kaniga, please. With that, we say good night.
As long as you know one.
Absolutely, you can say Kaniga.
You're watching National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.